Hello everyone, my name is Жазира and I'm a teacher of English. Today I would like to talk about my experience of taking IELTS. Actually, my total score was 8 out of 9. So basically I'd like to talk about each section as like few tips, few things I've tried myself. So for the first section is reading. When I did sample tests, I tried to understand which kind of questions are particularly challenging. So for example, I took a test builder and I would do the test, and afterwards I would check the keys and try to analyze what kind of questions are particularly hard for me. And I realized it was matching headings. It's a type of task when you have a list of headings and numbered or lettered text, paragraphs, and you have to choose in which heading matches to which paragraph. Before I did it in maybe not very effective way. So basically I tried to skim the text and then I would try to figure out each paragraph in return. So I would read like paragraph A and then try to see all the headings, which was not a good strategy because I wasted tons of time. I didn't quite get it. But afterwards I changed my strategy. What I did is I would, if I see that the first task is matching heading, I would read only one paragraph first. I would not even skim the task. I would just read one paragraph and try to formulate in my head the main idea. As you probably know, the main idea usually in the beginning or in the end of paragraph. So basically, first I would try to formulate the main idea before even going to the headings, the list of headings. And then as I formulated the idea in my head, I could certainly find the right heading. Of course, it was not like from the first attempt that I got it, but finally I did succeed. The main trick here is to read and ask yourself a question. What's the main idea of this paragraph? What does the author wants to say? What's the main thing about this paragraph? That's the key to success. And the next problem I had was true, false, not given. So for example, in the text, they might change the percentage to fractions, which is a bit confusing, or they would just change one word which will make the sentence like false, which you might not notice in first. Changing the most to all, which are obviously a big thing, of course. The things like majority and the 50%, because 50% is not majority yet. You have to have like more than 50% to have the majority. You just have to be careful about all those little things that really make difference in this type of questions. So otherwise I think I didn't have much problems with reading. It was the speed also. As I read the text, I understood what's the structure of the text, the type of questions. I already expected what it might be there, and it was much easier. And I started to read actually faster. Once I started to read more, I started to read faster and more effectively, by the way. So my general tip for the reading section is read more. Try to challenge yourself. And there are plenty of strategies of fast reading, for example. Try one. The one that I like is sometimes I use my finger or pen to read. So to avoid the regression. So basically I try to read till the end without stopping, because once I go back it's actually a bad habit called regression, which of course I suffered for many years. But then once I use the finger and I'm not allowing myself to go back, I would do effective skimming. And then let's go to the listening. And on the listening section, the most challenging would be not the first one. On the first one, you basically need to know how to spell and how to spell names, how to spell names of first names, second names, addresses, whatever. Whereas on the other sections, as you go to second, third and fourth sections, it's more about being very fast to react. So, and in your head you have to be thinking and planning already several possible synonyms of one word. So basically paraphrasing, the ability to paraphrase very fast in your head is one of the best ones. It's also about, sometimes what I try to do is when the listening is very fast, and it happens sometimes when you have two gaps that are very close. Usually, they have enough time to write down one word and then another word. Maybe use some kind of abbreviations, but be careful. You have to understand your abbreviations, otherwise, what's the point of using them? I try to remember the answers. So basically, if I do the first, I didn't get, like, for example, the second, I just read the third, the fourth, but then I try to go back to the second one and try to recall what was the answer. And sometimes it worked well, so because I try to focus and concentrate, only think about listening. On the listening, the main strategy is to focus. Of course, it's good to know the vocabulary, it's good to listen more, very fast to react. Once you wrote down one answer, just go ahead with the listening. And even if you didn't catch one word, it's okay. Because one word is just 1 point, and there are 40 points if you missed one. It's not a big deal, yes. For example, I got 8 out of 9, and I guess I did at least 3-4 mistakes. And the next section is writing. Well, I think the key to writing is to think about the 4 IELTS criteria. It's task achievement, coherence and cohesion, grammatical range and accuracy, and lexical resources. They're very important in calculating the score. So be careful about grammar. Try to revise all the grammar, because grammar makes up to 70% of your score. So if the grammar is bad, do not expect you to have a very good score. Well, grammar was in order. Then, I had no problems with grammar. But then, with another thing, and I understood that once I took only one tutoring lesson. Basically, I sent it via email and then I got the feedback. And the problem was mostly about being repetitive. Because I'm a teacher, that's my nature. So basically, when I try to explain something, I explain it in different ways. Like I try to approach from one side and another side, which is not good in IELTS. On IELTS it's good to be very straightforward, focused, and be up to point. So you have to be clear about what you are delivering. So logic is important, and how you connect your ideas. And also, it's very important to use strong adjectives and strong verbs. Sometimes if you can use an adjective and an adverb and a verb, but you can use one strong adjective, use it. Try to plan your essays. Because there are only usually it's 4-paragraph essay. If you can do more, you can do 5 paragraphs. So it's about introduction, buddy, or one more buddy paragraph, and conclusion. Think about the ideas for buddy paragraphs. That's what I do. I usually choose the ideas for buddy paragraph. Usually it's enough to do one idea per paragraph. Maybe one supporting idea. So one idea, the main idea and supporting idea per paragraph. Because the more ideas you have, the more cluttered it is. The less clear. What I try to do is I took a sample question. Usually in all preparation books they have simple question, simple answer. So first I read the sample question, I write down the answer, and then I try to compare. It's not like, well, this answer is better or not. Just think about it like from a logic point of view. So what kind of connectors they used that you didn't use, or maybe what kind of how were ideas linked, and how you linked your own ideas. So don't try to compare. Just be more about observer. Don't go into much details, because the ideas will be different. I mean, every person is unique, and once you start to explain your idea, I'm sure it will be different from those ideas presented in the sample. And talk much about graphs, because I think that it's very mechanical. So you have to know the specific language, and you have to know the linking words, and what's the how to describe certain types of graphs. And there are different language, for example, for changes over the time and fixed time diagrams, process. You have to understand the difference between them, and have to know, what's the the skeleton of the essay. So you could just make a new one. The next section is speaking. Well, speaking was really the most the easiest section for me. I really liked it. I really liked the experience. I liked to prepare for it. Basically, how did I do? I just read some newspapers, recent news. Well, I tried to discuss something with my English-speaking friends. You can find some forums. It's very interesting, but I found out that after I actually passed my IELTS test, found out that there are forums where you can arrange the Skype talk with any person in the world, just to practice your for IELTS. And you can find people with different levels, so they write their level, and you can arrange the Skype talk. I think it's a good idea. You're confident, read, listen to news, because they might be. Because in my case, for example, I was asked about recent information that I've read, and for example, who I would recommend it to. And because I'm a teacher, I said I read a book, but also, you could also use some articles from newspapers and magazines. Well, the website I really like, and which I watch quite often, is BBC News. I like the video section, so I just watch the video. So it helps to listen to recent news, and you can find something interesting for you. But of course, you should vary sometimes. To listen or to read to something that's not very interesting for you, so that you're prepared for the kind of vocabulary they might be, and to discuss some maybe unexpected topics that happens a lot. On the third section of speaking, they might ask you something about global trends, which is not easy sometimes to answer even in your native language, because IELTS is all about giving your opinion. It's not about expert opinion. Obviously you're not an expert in all fields, so just try to be confident. I would say even radiate confidence and positivity and friendliness. Challenge yourself, do a lot of practices, and you can do the same. Bye bye.